On the night of October 9th, 2012, darkness fell over the small college town of Dover, New Hampshire. The streets were quiet, with only an occasional car passing by. At this time, 19-year-old Lizzi Marriott, a student at the University of New Hampshire, was returning home after a party. She didn't know that this night would be the last of her life. Lizzi was a bright, cheerful girl with big plans for the future. She dreamed of becoming a marine biologist and was already taking the first steps toward achieving that dream. However, fate had a different scenario in store for her, one that would soon shake the entire city and force many to reconsider their views on human nature. Elizabeth Lizzi Marriott was born on June 10, 1993 in the city of Westboro, Massachusetts. She grew up in a loving family with a younger brother. From early childhood, Lizzi showed a special love for animals, especially aquatic creatures. Lizzi's parents, Bob and Melissa Marriott, always supported their daughter's interests. They often took her on trips to aquariums and the coast, where little Lizzi watched the marine life with fascination. This childhood curiosity later grew into a serious passion for marine biology. In school, Lizzi was an excellent student and actively participated in various extracurricular activities. She was a member of the Scout movement, where she learned responsibility and teamwork. These qualities, along with her natural kindness and openness, made Lizzi a favorite among both peers and teachers. Graduating from high school in 2011 was an important milestone for Lizzi. She was chosen as the prom queen, which testified to her popularity and respect among classmates. New horizons and opportunities were opening up ahead, and Lizzi was ready to conquer them. After graduating from high school, Lizzi entered the University of New Hampshire, where she began studying marine biology. The choice of university was not accidental. The institution was famous for its marine science program and proximity to the ocean, which gave students the opportunity for practical experience. Lizzi was full of enthusiasm. She dreamed of exploring the oceans and making scientific discoveries. In parallel with her studies, the girl volunteered at the Boston Aquarium, where she conducted tours for visitors. This work not only gave her practical experience but also allowed her to share her passion for marine life with others. To be closer to the university and save on housing rent, Lizzi moved in with her uncle and aunt in the town of Chester, New Hampshire. This decision demonstrated her desire for independence and willingness to sacrifice comfort for the sake of education. The fall of 2012 marked the beginning of a new stage in Lizzi's life. She transferred to the second year of the University of New Hampshire, where she was immediately enrolled in the marine biology program. The first day at the new educational institution was full of excitement and anticipation. Lizzi quickly found common ground with her classmates, who were attracted by her sincere smile and positive attitude toward life. Teachers noted her enthusiasm and deep interest in the subject. Lizzi actively participated in discussions, asked questions, and was always ready for new challenges. In addition to studying, the girl got a part-time job as a manager at the Target store. This work not only helped her financially, but also developed her communication and teamwork skills. Colleagues characterized Lizzi as a friendly, communicative girl who never refused to help. It seemed that all doors were opening before Lizzi, and the future promised to be bright and successful. However, fate had an unexpected twist in store for her, which would forever change the lives of many people. At her job at Target, Lizzi met 18-year-old Kat McDonnell. The girls quickly found common ground, despite some differences in their characters. If Lizzi was open and sociable, Then Kat seemed more withdrawn and reserved. Colleagues noticed that after starting a relationship with a new boyfriend, Kat changed. She became less communicative, limited communication with friends, and even stopped contacting her family. However, Lizzi, with her natural kindness, did not pay attention to these changes and continued to support the friendship. The girls often spent time together after work, discussing their dreams and plans for the future. Lizzi shared her passion for marine biology, and Kat talked about her interest in theater. This friendship seemed ordinary for two young girls, but soon it would lead to tragic consequences. Soon, Lizzi met Kat's boyfriend, 30-year-old Seth Mazzalia. Seth was a graduate of the same University of New Hampshire where Lizzi studied, but with a degree in theater arts. He also had experience working as an ambulance paramedic and had a black belt in karate. At first glance, Seth seemed like an interesting and versatile personality. He worked as a consultant in an electronics store and taught martial arts. However, behind this facade hid a dark side of his nature. Seth and Kat met a year ago in a theater when the girl was only 17. Immediately after her 18th birthday, Seth proposed that Kat live with him. They settled in Mazzadlia's apartment in the city of Dover, New Hampshire. Few people knew, but the couple practiced BDSM relationships, where Seth acted as the dominant and Kat as the fully submissive. They even posted ads on specialized sites looking for a third participant for their games. These details will become important for understanding the subsequent events. October 9th, 2012 began like a normal day for Lizzi Marriott. She attended classes at the university and then worked a few hours at Target. In the evening, Lizzi decided to go to a party with her friend Liz Pace. The girls carefully prepared for the outing. They did their makeup, styled their hair, and chose the appropriate clothes. According to Liz, they had a good time at the party, dancing, chatting with friends, and enjoying the atmosphere. Around 4 o'clock in the morning on October 10th, Lizzi drove Liz home in her white 1994 Honda Accord. However, instead of going home herself, Lizzi said she had some other business to attend to. She hugged her friend goodbye, not suspecting that this would be their last meeting. After saying goodbye to Liz, Lizzi decided to visit Kat McDonnell. She wrote a note to her uncle and aunt, informing them that she was going to a friend's house and would return by midnight. This decision proved fatal for the young girl. Lizzi arrived at Kat and Seth's apartment around 9 o'clock in the morning on October 10th. She didn't know that Seth would be home and that the couple had their own plans for her. According to Kat, who later gave testimony during the investigation, Seth had seen pictures of Lizzi in advance and liked her. At first, everything seemed innocent. The three young people sat, talked, watched a movie. However, the atmosphere gradually changed. Seth suggested playing strip poker, creating a favorable atmosphere for intimacy. Lizzi, who trusted her friends, agreed, not suspecting the danger that awaited her. The situation in Seth and Kat's apartment quickly got out of control. When Lizzi lost a few rounds of poker and was left in only her underwear, Seth suggested that she kiss Kat. Lizzi categorically refused, explaining that she was in a serious relationship and did not want to cheat on her partner. Lizzi's refusal infuriated Seth. He went into another room where he put on black leather gloves and took a rope. Returning, Seth suddenly threw the rope around Lizzi's neck and began strangling her. Kat, who later claimed to have been shocked and frightened, did nothing to help Lizzi. Lizzi fought for her life, but could not resist the physically stronger Seth. After a few minutes, she stopped showing signs of life. Seth, having made sure that Lizzi was dead, committed a sexual assault on her body. Realizing that they had committed murder, Seth and Kat panicked. They decided to get rid of the body and destroy all evidence. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, the couple wrapped Lizzi's body in a tarp and placed it in a suitcase. Using Lizzi's car, they took the body to Pierce Island in Portsmouth, where the Piscataqua River flows. Seth and Kat dragged the suitcase to an observation deck, pulled out Lizzi's body, and threw it off a cliff into the river. After that, they thoroughly washed Lizzi's car, trying to destroy all traces of the crime. The car was left in the university campus parking lot, and they walked home themselves, covering a distance of about 10 miles. The next day, the couple continued to destroy evidence. They threw away Lizzi's personal belongings and other items associated with the crime. Seth broke Lizzi's phone and threw it away on the way home. On October 10th, Lizzi failed to show up for work at Target, which caused concern among her colleagues. They contacted Lizzi's father, Thomas Antonakos, to find out if everything was okay with the girl. Thomas, who had not been able to contact his daughter since the previous evening, began to worry. Lizzi's aunt and uncle, with whom she lived in Chester, initially assumed that the girl could have stayed with a friend. However, when Lizzi did not return the next day, their concern grew. Meanwhile, Seth and Kat tried to act as usual. Seth even offered to help search for Lizzi, trying to deflect suspicion from himself. Kat remained silent, fearing the consequences and Seth's threats. On October 11th, when it became clear that Lizzi had disappeared, her parents immediately went to Chester. On the way, they called the police and reported their daughter's disappearance. Thomas Antonakos, a successful businessman, immediately began his own investigation. He visited places Lizzi frequented, talked to her friends and acquaintances. Unfortunately, no one could provide substantial information about the girl's whereabouts. Lizzi's parents announced a reward of $10,000 for information about their daughter's whereabouts. They hoped this would help speed up the search and obtain important leads. The New Hampshire police launched an active investigation into Lizzi Marriott's disappearance. Initially, investigators suggested that the girl might have been in a car accident, but this version was quickly dismissed. Detectives interviewed all of Lizzi's friends and acquaintances. During these interviews, it turned out that the last person to see Lizzi was her friend, Kat McDonnell. This drew investigators' attention to Kat and her boyfriend, Seth Mazzaglia. An important lead was information about the last location of Lizzi's phone. The signal was recorded in the city of Dover at 10:11 p.m. on October 9th, not far from where Kat and Seth lived. On October 14th, Lizzi's car was found in the university campus parking lot. The car was empty, and no traces of a struggle or other evidence of crime were found in it. The disappearance of a young student quickly attracted the attention of local media. News about Lizzi Marriott appeared on the front pages of newspapers and in the main news releases. Journalists interviewed Lizzi's parents, her friends, and teachers. Everyone described the girl as a kind, responsible, and purposeful person who could not just disappear. Media attention helped spread information about Lizzi's disappearance to the general public. This led to an increase in calls to the police hotline from people who thought they might have seen the girl. However, the increased press attention also created additional pressure on investigators and complicated the conduct of some operational measures. A few days after Lizzi's disappearance, the police summoned Seth Mazzaglia and Kat McDonnell for questioning. The couple was interrogated separately, which allowed investigators to compare their testimonies. Kat denied that Lizzi had visited them on October 9th. She insisted that she had not seen her friend on the day of her disappearance. Kat's interrogation lasted about 2 hours, after which she refused to continue the conversation and remained waiting for Seth at the police station. Seth, unlike Kat, told a completely different story. He admitted that Lizzi had indeed come to them that evening. According to him, they had a threesome, and in the process, he tied the girls up with ropes. Seth claimed that at some point something went wrong and Lizzi accidentally died. Seth's interrogation lasted 11 hours. He said that after Lizzi's death, he and Kat took her body to the Piscataqua River and threw it into the water. Seth even agreed to go with the police to the place where they disposed of the body. After Seth's confession, investigators conducted a thorough search of the couple's apartment and the surrounding area. In a garbage container near the house, a package with men's underwear, a pair of black leather gloves, and Lizzi's sweater were found. An examination revealed traces of Seth and Lizzie's DNA on the underwear, confirming their close contact. This evidence contradicted Kat's initial testimony and cast doubt on her version of events. Meanwhile, the police continued their search for Lizzie's body in the Piscataqua River. Divers and special equipment were involved, but the strong current and difficult bottom relief complicated the work. Under the pressure of evidence, Kat changed her testimony. She recorded a video confession in which she confirmed that Lizzi was in their apartment on October 9th. According to her, they did indeed play strip poker, after which the situation turned intimate. However, Kat claimed that Lizzi died from accidental strangulation during sex games. Further investigation revealed even more shocking details of the crime. An analysis of phone records showed that Seth and Kat had planned to find a third participant for their sex games several weeks before the tragedy. During a new interrogation in 2014, Kat finally revealed the full picture of events. She confessed that Seth had pressured her, demanding that she bring a friend for sex games. Kat invited Lizzi, knowing about Seth's plans, but not warning her friend. According to Kat, on the night of the murder, Seth acted coldly and purposefully. She described how he strangled Lizzi despite her resistance and pleas. Kat claimed that she was paralyzed with fear and could not help Lizzi. After the murder, Seth forced Kat to help him get rid of the body. They took Lizzi to Pierce Island, where, on Seth's orders, Kat dragged the body into the water and disguised it with algae. On October 13, 2012, Seth Mazzalia was arrested on charges of second-degree murder. He was also charged with rape and criminal conspiracy. Kat McDonnell was arrested in November of the same year. She was charged with being an accessory to murder and obstructing justice. The arrests shocked the local community. Many could not believe that Seth and Kat, who seemed like an ordinary young couple, could commit such a heinous crime. The prosecution insisted that Seth's actions were intentional and cold-blooded. They argued that he had planned in advance to bring a third person for sex games and was prepared for violent actions. In May 2014, the trial of Seth Mazzalia began. The case attracted considerable public and media attention. The courtroom was crowded, and groups of people gathered outside the courthouse demanding justice for Lizzi. Prosecutors presented evidence including text messages between Seth and Kat, which indicated their intentions to find a third participant for their sex games. The results of forensic examinations and expert testimony were also presented. Seth's defense tried to present Lizzi's death as an unfortunate accident during consensual sex games. They claimed that there was no intent to kill the girl and that Seth only helped dispose of the body after the tragic incident. Lizzi's family was present at every court session, suffering from the painful details of their daughter's final hours. Their presence reminded everyone of the human tragedy behind this case. A key moment in the trial was the testimony of Kat McDonnell. The prosecution offered her a plea deal in exchange for her testimony against Seth. Instead of a possible 20 years in prison, she was offered only 3 years on the condition of full disclosure of the truth about the events of that night. Kat agreed to the deal and gave testimony that shocked everyone present. She talked about the pressure from Seth, about his persistent demands to find a third participant for their games, about the threats he made to her. According to Kat, on the night of the murder, Seth acted cold-bloodedly and purposefully. She described how he strangled Lizzi, despite her resistance and pleas. Kat claimed that she was paralyzed with fear and could not intervene, fearing that she would become the next victim. Kat's testimony became a turning point in the case, providing the court and the jury with a complete picture of the horrific events of that night. In June 2014, after a lengthy trial, the jury found 32-year-old Seth Mazzaglia guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. 20-year-old Kat McDonnell, in accordance with the plea agreement, received only 3 years in prison. She was charged with hindering the prosecution and being an accomplice after the fact of the murder. The verdict elicited a mixed reaction in society. Many felt that the punishment for Kat was too lenient, given her role in the crime and the subsequent concealment of the truth. Others argued that without her testimony, Seth might have received a less severe sentence. Lizzi's family expressed mixed feelings about the verdict. They were satisfied that Seth received the maximum punishment, but considered the short prison term for Kat to be unfair. In their opinion, she had betrayed their daughter and did nothing to prevent the tragedy. After the trial ended, the lives of everyone involved in the case changed forever. Seth Mazzaglia began serving his life sentence in a maximum security prison. According to reports, he was repeatedly attacked by other inmates. Kat McDonnell was released from prison in July 2016, having served her 3-year term. She faced difficulties finding work due to her criminal past and tried to avoid publicity. Lizzi's family continued to struggle with the pain of their loss. They established the Lizzi Marriott Foundation, which provides scholarships to students studying marine biology, the field to which Lizzi dedicated her short life. The University of New Hampshire installed a memorial bench in honor of Lizzi, and also established an annual lecture on marine biology in her name. Thank you for the reminder. The tragic death of Lizzi Marriott left a deep mark on the lives of many people. Her parents, Bob and Melissa Marriott, dedicated themselves to preserving their daughter's memory and helping others. The Lizzi Marriott Foundation, created by her family, not only provides scholarships to students of marine biology, but also supports programs aimed at preventing violence and raising awareness about youth safety. In Lizzi's hometown of Westboro, Massachusetts, a memorial was created, a bench by a lake in the forest. This place has become a symbol of peace and reflection for those who knew and loved Lizzi. The Lizzi Marriott case also drew attention to the problem of relationship violence and the importance of caution when meeting new people. Many schools and universities have strengthened their student safety and violence prevention programs. The story of Lizzi Marriott is not only a tale of a horrific crime, but also a deep exploration of human nature. It forces us to reflect on the dark sides of the human soul and the dangers that can lurk behind an ordinary facade. This tragedy demonstrates how trust and kindness can be used against a person. Lizzi, an open and friendly girl, fell victim to those she considered friends. Her story reminds us of the importance of caution and attentiveness to those around us. At the same time, the community's reaction to this tragedy showed the strength of human solidarity and compassion. Thousands of people united to support Lizzi's family and honor her memory. The Lizzi Marriott case remains a painful reminder of the fragility of life and how quickly it can change. It calls on us to cherish every moment and be attentive to those we love.